Hello then. Okay, let's have a quick look. Let's have a look at your work. So I'm so sorry about your results, but let's keep moving, and I can offer you some advice after this correction. So let's see. Some young people are leaving the countryside to live in cities and towns, leaving only old people. Why do you think this is? Okay, that is paragraph number 1. Do you think it's positive or negative? Paragraph number 2. Let's see. It's often suggested that the younger generation is migrating from rural areas to the urban regions, such as cities and towns, consequently leaving the elderly in the countryside. Very good. Okay. In my opinion, the primary reason behind this could be the better opportunities in the cities. It is a negative development as it would lead to higher population levels in the cities, as well as increasing the feeling of loneliness amongst the older generation. Excellent work there, very impressed. Hundreds of thousands of people are moving to the cities in order to search for highly paid and better jobs. Okay, so better jobs. I mean, we could say superior career opportunities. Okay, just one suggestion there. And I wanted to bring your attention to better, okay, because we've used it twice, but we can usually use good, bad, okay, and the superlatives of good and bad, worse, better, best, whatever. These are among the first words we learn when we start with English, okay, so maybe as we go out, I'm going to pay attention just to opportunities where we can upgrade from certain English words to, more advanced ones. This is because urban areas such as Toronto, New York and Brampton not only have vacancies in entertainment sectors like cinemas, hotels. I don't know if hotels is entertainment sector, okay, and other tourist spots, okay, but also provide jobs to workers. That's the same. Have vacancies and okay. But also provide jobs to workers and labourers in industries and factories. Okay, for example, 10,000 villagers migrated from the outskirts of Toronto to the city centre and found jobs as construction workers to build the renowned CN Tower. Thus, the facilities offered by the urban areas are the main reason. Okay, so there's a disconnect here. When we're talking about facilities, we might be talking, I assume, we're talking about hospitals, sports centres, parks, schools, infrastructure, okay? Alright, but you've talked about job opportunities, okay? So I think we really, and also this paragraph looks a little bit thin, okay? I think we can add additional reasons, yeah? So we could say, this is largely because of 2 reasons. Firstly, the career opportunities and employment numbers are considerably superior to those in rural areas, and secondly, the facilities offered by facilities such as schools, parks and even hospitals are also considerably higher quality than those in the countryside. Okay, so can you see I've offered 2 reasons. Okay, now I'm going to develop both reasons, yeah, and then I will finish with something like thus there are 2 main, I believe these are the 2 main factors pulling people from greener pastures, or pulling people from the countryside into the city, yeah, into the cities and towns or urban areas, whatever. And it just makes it a little bit bigger. However, this might lead to a rise in air pollution in cities. Okay, good. That is, yeah, I mean, it could do. I would have thought overpopulation would have been the most logical one, you know. That is to say, due to the increased number of people in the cities, more vehicles would be operated by them. This would eventually lead to a rise in the level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Good. Such a trend might set the stage for breathing problems such as asthma, bronchitis, and emphysema. Good. For instance, a study conducted by Harvard University proved that due to the exponential rise in the percentage of immigrants in New York in 2010, Barack Obama ordered to open 20 restaurants. What? Restaurants? Okay, so that doesn't make any sense, alright? Okay. I don't understand. Opened 20 restaurants? Why would opening 20 restaurants increase the exponential rise of migrants? Okay. Pollution levels and global warming. I mean, that's... They can't say that. That's unrealistic. You're saying that the pollution level... Okay, you're saying that global warming, the entire Earth's temperature increased by 20% because Obama ordered 28 restaurants to open? Okay, so, I mean, the good thing is that your English is really good, and we're not even looking at corrections, we're looking at improvements, okay? So that's fantastic. Unfortunately, though, some of the arguments need to be sort of like reworked, okay? Furthermore, elderly people left behind often feel detached from their family and kids. Children is the better way, which subsequently leads to loneliness and a feeling of alienation due to the lack of care and support from the family. Therefore, migration of individuals to the urban or at least environment creates a disjointed family. Good. And can create a disjointed family. Great sentence there. You know, you're using negative verbs instead of negative construction. We do need to introduce hedging here, and can sometimes create a disjointed family. In conclusion, we strongly agree that more and more, ever more younger people, I'm sure there's a better way we can say that, an increasingly worrying amount of younger people, for example, are moving to the cities in the search of jobs and work opportunities so that they could earn the living, so that they can. It's probably better because it's more of able rather than possibility. On the other hand, this trend has negative effects on the environment and the older generation who have to live alone. Super. Alright, excellent work there. So, just as a summary, longer, multiple reasons in this paragraph. Also, try and improve your vocabulary. Second, here, we've got two arguments here, but the problem is, as I said, one of them is not very realistic. Okay, let's have a look at the next one. Some people think that studying literature from the past is a waste of time for high school students. To what extent do you agree? Educational experts often believe that imparting information related to traditional literature is a mere waste of time for high school pupils. In my opinion, I completely agree with the assertion because they would not find such an art form to be interesting to learn and would not be able to apply the knowledge in real life. Okay. To what extent? Okay, so you completely agree. That's fine. Session because they would not find such an art form to be interesting to learn. Okay, I just emphasize that they probably would not find, because it's quite a strong statement, okay? And would not be able to apply the knowledge in real life. Okay. Yeah, so even though we're using the modals, we could definitely emphasize it and just say, probably not. And just to use a different construction, would most likely be unable, and we're using a negative verb instead of a negative construction, which we've already got here. You see? This is in the course as well. To begin with, studying old novels would be mundane and boring for students. Again, would most likely be. Okay? This is because old literature. Is there a different way we could say old? It's one of those basic words that we get at the beginning of learning English, because antiquated. Yeah. This is because novels from a previous era often do not include fictional. Okay, this is because old literature does not include fictional stories or uses complex. That's completely wrong. Okay, I'm beginning to see maybe why you're not scoring what you want to. Okay, this is because old literature. Okay, I mean, old literature. Let's just see. We've got old literature could be Lord of the Rings. Okay, which is completely fictional. I mean, it was written 70 years ago, so it's old. Yeah. Old literature, I mean, in my opinion, it's quite often fictional stories. You know, look at the Greek mythology. There's, look at Hindu mythology as well, or Hindu religion. I don't know. I'm not an expert on this, but you know, we see these gods with 8 arms and elephant heads. You know, is that fictional? I think it is fictional. Like most of the old literature and Shakespeare, it's all fictional stories in Shakespeare, you know? So just be careful, Mughal leaders. What are Mughal leaders? Okay, I'm going to pause and research. Okay, alright, so let's just, I think what we've done here is we've confused. Like, literature is literally sort of like stories, okay? And then we've got historical events and historical literature, or history, basically. And it looks like Mughal leaders might be history. I don't know, but there's a lot of cloudy thinking here, okay? And a lot of contradictions. It's because old literature, so yeah, historic literature maybe, does not include fictional stories. Okay, and uses complex and is often based on the stories of old leaders and Mughal leaders. Old leaders, again repetition, which might not be intriguing for high school pupils. For example, the study conducted by having improved their students who have to read stories of Mughal empires. So consistency, no capitalization here, capitalization here. Emperors, check your spelling, often end up wasting their time as they do not retain any information gained from the book due to the lack of interest while reading it. Okay, repetition. And we can use a demonstrative. Therefore, forcing students to read old literature, again repetition, would be a waste of time as they would not be keen to read the book. Okay, so same structures again and again, and you know, the same vocabulary again and again, and then a lack of sort of like a real idea, a strong idea. Okay, so I mean, I agree with your argument that it might not be interesting, it might be difficult to apply the knowledge, okay, but there's too many inconsistencies, okay, so you could definitely say it might not be interesting, because, I don't know, in older literature, some of the figures seem less exciting compared to modern stories, such as those from the Marvel, or such as from the Star Wars era, you know? And then I can develop it and just say, I don't know, comparing Hindu gods to, I don't know, Baba Jinx or some Star Wars story, you know? And then we've got kind of like a realistic argument, maybe. But there's no inconsistencies there, okay? In my version that I gave you. Additionally, reading old literature, again, same vocabulary, would not be beneficial for today's generation because they would not be able to relate the obsolete concepts to their current life. Beautiful. Good point. That is to say, the great books that date back thousands of years are mostly based on fights, bravery, and unrealistic love stories as compared to the current literature that can be related to the concept of feminism, social realism, and women female empowerment. If, for instance, Priyanka Chopra, a famous actress, had not studied modern literature at Oxford University, she would not have been able to inspire thousands of women in India to fight for their rights. Thus, in order to study and understand modern society, students should learn the current literature. Beautiful. Okay, great example here. Again, multiple arguments, okay? I think maybe one of the reasons you're not getting a 7 is that your paragraphs are a little bit thin. Try adding a few more arguments like you did here, okay? In conclusion, I agree that students at academic institutes should learn new and modern literature instead of historical novels, as they are more interesting. Furthermore, relying on modern literature could be beneficial in the real world. Excellent, but I don't... Oh yeah, you did mention this. You mentioned it here. Okay, so I think you've got the question pack. Keep moving, and let's get some more essays in.